And that's when it flows in. And sometimes the answer is simple. Dear one, if you come to that point, that precipice, and you need answers so badly and you want to hear the numbers or the words, don't be disappointed if all you get is a hug. And my partner said it, that is an answer. And the answer when you get a hug is that practical answers are on the way. You're going to get them. You're going to see them. Synchronicity will bring them. And in the process, relax. Without the relaxation of that, you will make decisions that'll get in the way of the synchronicity that will occur. Therefore, the hug is an answer, isn't it? That you're not alone. That you're never alone. This entire seminar, this entire day, has been about perceptual communications. From the information about the alignment of 2012 right down to what my partner calls a quantum perception, has been everything he has been told to do. And through synchronicity, he has been given the teaching points. And this is the way it works. And whether it's an author on stage, or whether it's a mom with her kids, the answers come in these ways. The mother loves their children so much, wants to see them with wisdom. The children don't necessarily have yet. Doesn't want them to make the mistakes they made. I want to tell you, there are answers in that. There are answers in that. Teach the children what you know about God. That's the answer. Don't teach the child what was wrong with what they did or what's wrong with what you did. Don't teach the child necessarily the lineage of mistakes you made. Instead, look in the child's eyes and say, I want to tell you what I found. That is most important to me, that goes beyond any generation gap that ever existed. I found God in me and you've got it in you. And you can find it any way you want to. But it's going to keep you out of trouble. It's going to keep you wise. And innately you'll know what to do at the times when your parents are not around. You couldn't give a child anything better than that. This is quantum teaching. The word quantum used in a popular way, meaning that which appears to be nonsensical randomness has purpose and there is a system to it. You can't see the logic of it because it's out of your dimensional perception. So I want this to be a message today, a core message, one that gets published, about perception. I want to show you how human beings perceive God in an old and a new energy, and how God perceives humans. Pieces and parts of all this been taught now for 21 years. We put it together so you can hear it yet again. Altogether, a perceptual message. Human beings are changing the way they think. But it cannot change unless you get out of what you would call the survival instinct of 3 dimensions. For within the reality that you claim is all there is the box you put God in. And that gets in the way of everything you do. Think about these things. All of these years, what humans do with energy. When you feel something that is not part of your reality, it disturbs you. And you do one of 2 things with it. You either worship it or you condemn it. Very few human beings absorb it. Because it's frightening, is it not? It is not in the box of the reality that you would expect. If a miracle happens, what do? Thank you, God, you say. All of the credit, therefore, goes to a divine power you cannot understand, which is beyond all things explainable. And if something goes bump in the night, it's the devil. It's evil. Now let me expand your box for a moment. What if all of those things were normal? What if they're part of humanism? What if instead of closing in your box, you build a bigger box? If that suits you, do it. Take the box and double its size and include energies you don't understand in the smaller box. And here is the invitation. Spirit is having fun. Sound from heaven. The next time you get an unusual healing, something that happens out of the normal, something that you might even label as typical spontaneous remission, which isn't, why don't you say, thank you, inside the Creator, which allowed this to be manifested. Why don't you say, I am powerful in that I am a piece of God, and all of these things I give thanks for. In the name of who I am, a creative piece of the universe, learning to expand my energy. And when something goes bump in the night, you might consider that it's part of a system of energy, for we have told you that all energies that are produced on the planet stay here. All good things, all bad things in your purview. If there was a dramatic moment, something that is abominable to the human spirit, it is imprinted in the air. Bang! Stays there like a tape that replays itself. It's energy. Doesn't necessarily mean it's an entity, does it? And you might experience it. It's not evil. It's simply energy. And what does it beg you to do? Clear it. We've told you this before because your energy allowance has an attribute. That light is more powerful than dark because light is active and dark is passive. That is to say, if you have a dark room and you open the door, dark does not leak out. If instead you light a match, darkness vanishes, for it cannot exist with light there, you see? Dark has no substance, for it is defined as the absence of light. Therefore, if you come upon an energy which you feel is a stamp of inappropriateness for your magnificence that is in your purview, turn on the light. And it will go away. It is as simple as that. You can address it. You can say, energy be gone, for you have no more purpose. Let there be light in this place. I've just given somebody an answer who came here for it. It's time to expand the box. Perhaps it's time to eliminate it. The perception of the human being creates what is called the magnificence of God and the power of evil. It's only a perception. Let me tell you what our perception is, that all of you, each one, carries a magnificent potential to control the energies for yourself, around you, for your life. Don't be afraid of either one. If you come across something inappropriate, clear it up. If you come across something magnificent, claim it as your power. And move forward to the next step. Do you hear what I'm saying? Time to have a perceptual shift, is it not? Humanity has consistently put God in a box of fear. You fear God, do you not? Because God is big and humans are not, supposedly. Let's talk about that human perception. The human wants to paste human attributes on the divine. The creator of the universe. Supposedly, when you step across the veil, you're going to find strife. You're going to find war. You're going to find angels fighting angels. That's your mythology, isn't it? You're going to find one of the attributes of humanity that you have pasted on God completely and totally. You're going to find punishment and reward. Did you know it doesn't exist on this side of the veil? I want to tell you what exists on my side of the veil. A soup of magnificent energy. It sings a message in color and light. There's no strife here. The creator energy has no strife here. There's no punishment here. There's no reward here. There's only creator energy here. You're part of the creator energy family. You should know this. And you should have the wisdom also to know that all of the things you paste upon God are the human attributes. That you can't think past that box of what God must be like. And so you create wars in heaven, you create angel strife, you create things that would then explain the devil. Fallen angels, pearly gates, lists of do's and don'ts, of goods and bads, accounting, places you go, golden streets. All human perspective pasted upon God. I want to tell you it's a lot different than that. And I want to remind you that there are those who have seen it. Why don't you ask somebody who has had what you would call a near-death experience? When they got close, ever so close to the Creator's energy. When they just barely touched it. When the heart was stopping and the breathing was almost gone before they were brought back to life with science. They got to go there. They got to touch the hand of God that was just barely creeping through the door that was barely opening. And what they saw was magnificent. Filled with love and filled with light and filled with family. Filled with beauty. There was no strife there. There was no punishment there. And when they came back, listen to what they told you. For it changed their lives, didn't it? Listen to each one talk about it. There is nothing to fear, they said. Death is something you experience a lot of. Blessed is the human being when they're born and when they die. And they have the wisdom to say, oh, it's uncomfortable. But I'll get over it. Because I've done it before. Birth and death. Most uncomfortable. And how many times have you done it? Old soul. All of you are going to go through it again. Every single one in this room is coming back. Sorry. I'll tell you why. I've said it before. You have the mind of God on the other side of the veil, not the mind of a human being. You see the Akash, you know who you are, you see the lineage, a purpose of who you are. You can't stay on my side of the veil when you're not complete, when you're not finished. Here you are in the shift. It's going to shift the planet so that when you return, you can finally do something. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the transition. And you come back, you can finally do something. Oh, soul, it's eminent. Some of you over 50,000 years old. You're not going to stay away. You're not going to miss the end of the transition. There's a lot more here perceived than you know. In an old energy, humans even took God to the limit, making many of them, one for the ocean, one for the sky, giving them children, creating anger, reward, love and hate. All the Greek gods had that. Trickery, deceit, deception, revenge, all assigned to God. Have you ever heard a revengeful God? That is a human attribute pasted upon the energy of fear. There's nothing to fear. You're growing up. You're starting to understand that if the Creator's inside, that communication to God is instantaneous. It is yours to have. You don't need an intermediary. You might have in an older energy. That's why it occurred. Let me tell you about worship. Let me define worship for you. Blessed is the human being who gets together with another human being or a group of human beings to celebrate their divinity. That's worship. And what is exactly the thing you're worshiping? Is it a great divine power that you are going to kneel in front of? Or are you honoring that which is the God inside you? You know the answer. For humanity is beginning to see it and beginning to change. I'm Kryon, so I feel an interdimensionality that you cannot. I feel this box you're in. Do you know what's happened in this room in these years? Since the 80s? You know what's happened in here? Epiphanies. Joy. Transmutation of sorrow and fear into peace. Understanding. You know how many human beings have been healed in this room? It's almost endless. The lineage of the space you sit in knows the truth of what I say. The very wood, carpet, cement, plastic reeks with a message to me. I see it all. It makes me weep with joy of those that found the family in this room. And it doesn't just stop there. For Spirit then looks at those who built it and the purpose and the intent of the builders. It doesn't even stop there. It even goes back to honoring those who created the name on the building. Their purpose, their vision, the synchronicity in their lives. A couple, not just the one, but the two. And had they not processed and proceeded in an old energy and fought against many things, the building would not be here. The synchronicity of the healings would not have occurred. This is what Spirit sees. What is our perception of you? dear human being, I will tell you that there are those in the room who we see the same kind of lineage I just described about the founders here. That is to say that there are seeds being planted and synchronicity beginning that will create a place of worship, a place of healing within their own lives. And I don't mean a building. I mean a family that gets healed. You know who I'm talking to? I hope you do. At this moment, I speak to those in the building and not the reader, not the hearer. In the building, I am telling you, there are those here who can leave different than they came. They can leave with the seed planting that will actually help those around them in ways that those around them will go on to affect those who are around those others around them. And you start what you would call then a pyramid of joy. It's the first time I've used the term. That's what we see. That is our perception. We don't see a singular human being. We see the culmination of your lives, of your wisdom, of what you've learned, of the shamans that sit in the room pretending to be ordinary. We see the potential of what you can do and what is coming. But not if you don't believe it. Do you understand the profundity of what I am saying? If you walk out of the room unchanged, if you don't open your heart, there is no punishment. Same number of angels go out with you, dear one, as the healer. But what also goes out is lost potential. There are those who have come for healing in the room. And so I'll just say it. Do you want it or not? And if you do, don't decide that it's going to be a spontaneous thing and run and get a blood test. What if instead there is something implanted in you to give you information and wisdom to proceed and meet somebody else who knows what to do? What about that? Don't decide how it's going to work. Honor the process of synchronicity, of the planting of spiritual seeds that lead you to other places you not necessarily would have gone to. That's how healing works. It includes the healing of a workplace, and you know who I'm talking to right now, for you've come with this issue. I'll tell you how it can be healed, and you don't believe it. It's going to start with you. When you relax with the problem before you, and it no longer pushes the buttons of drama, anger, and frustration, watch what happens around you. It'll solve itself. I want to tell you, there's energies that want to push your buttons. And as long as you react, they're happy. When you stop reacting, they'll find something else to do. You understand the process I just gave you? Let it begin in you. Every master that walked this earth had an attribute. People loved them. Animals loved them. Children loved them. Nature loved them. They could walk by flowers and they'd bloom. This is real. They had the energy of God. And all of nature saw it, all of the children saw it, all the animals saw it, and an adult, even one who was dense in an older energy, didn't understand but just wanted to sit next to him. And that includes the Christ. The one whose picture hangs laughing in the hallway. You just want to be with him, didn't you? Can you imagine if he were here? What would this magnificent master have to offer? I want to tell you, most of you wouldn't care. You just want to sit next to him. and feel the love and enjoy the presence and know all is well. And you know I'm right. So here's the puzzle. How would you like that for you? To be so alive with that which is inside that all those around you just want to be with you. Don't want you to do anything. They just want to be with you. Mom, I'll tell you something. If you make the shift, your children are not going to leave you. Now that's for somebody reading. Don't be afraid of it. Because the children are going to see God in you. They're not going to see weirdness in you. Don't give them a Kryon book. Just be a great mom. They'll find their own books. That's the perception we have. A long-term planting of seeds that sometimes don't even bloom until you come back in another body. What about that? But unless you do it right now, the next one is going to have the same problems you've got today. So why not create a setup that allows for you to change your Akash now, so that no matter what happens in the future, no matter what the incarnation or expression you have, you're going to come in ready to work with a light turned on. And you never have to go through what you've gone through this time, ever. How does it sound? Well, that's what the human being can do in this energy. And that's our perception today of you. It's not a fearful God. It's a magnificent family partner with its hand out. Can you get over the perception that God is big and you're not? Can you get over the perception that God's in the sky and you're not? Can you instead encompass a perception that says you are everywhere and that God is you? And when you walk out the door, you're not alone. And when you have a perplexing problem or a frustration, you can learn to breathe, relax, and get the answer you need. And it may not be in 3D. It may not be in the numbers or the words. But you'll know which direction to turn because you'll feel it. Trust first impressions. They're the ones that are subtle. They're the ones that you're not used to. That's the energy that is expanded outside of the box that you're in. Don't analyze it. Don't intellectualize it. Listen to your heart. There is a balance between the intellectual and the heart. It's needed to move into the areas that we speak of. Don't throw away your logic. Enhance it with the heart. And then here's something for somebody. My partner spoke of the bias, that the human always wants to move forward and never backward. You don't understand. Sometimes moving back is to revisit something to learn it better. It's not a bad thing. Somebody needed to hear that here. Give it another shot. Don't make up your mind. It's over. And that's for you, and you know who I'm talking to. I know who you are. Why wouldn't I? Family, why wouldn't I? With auras that are 26 feet across, why wouldn't I? You think you're hiding in the back there? Oh. Magnificent. I have a woman sitting here who used to hold a very big sword. And she knows who she is. In battle, he was great. And now she holds the sword differently. Today it's the sword of truth. And she slays drama. And she slays all things inappropriate. And the sword is even bigger. You don't know who you are. Maybe it's time you listened to inside. Your DNA knows. Inside your DNA, 90% of it is involved in spiritual quest. 90% is quantum. Less than 5% of DNA makes 30,000 human genes. That's the 3D part. 90% is all the rest. It is the beauty of the higher self. It is the angel inside. It is the guides. It is the Akashic record. It is the pointers to the entourage. It's the pipeline. It's the golden cord. It's whatever you want to call it. It's in every single human being. And you are beginning to activate it. It brings you to the chairs today, does it not? Makes you wonder why you're here. I know why you're here. I know what brought you here. You all have something in common. You're all my family. You even remember what the universe looks like. You can hardly wait to take a look again. Beautiful beyond words. Glorious with energies that you'll remember when you go back. And when it's time, you'll return. There is no one God. There is all of us. And how many is that? It's all. An infinite number of ones that together make it all work in a system called love. That is the power of the universe, and you can see it in the way the Creator creates. Astronomers pay attention, for you're looking at a benevolent Creator. And you can see it in that which is created in the universe. It is biased for life. It is not random. There is a system, and physics is starting even to discover it. He even gave it a name, intelligent design. There it is. Proof, if you wish, that God is good. Do you have a fearful God? Or do you have a family member? That's the question we leave you with. Perception. Change it. And you're going to find something that you didn't expect. As you vibrate higher, all of the things that have been in a higher vibration will start to show themselves. Invisible to you in a lower vibration, observable and usable in a higher one. The tools lay there, unused and ready. Manifestation is yours. Longer life, the elimination of disease, the beginning of you being able to change your own cellular structure, your makeup. You can do things that only stem cells can do with your very conscious thought. It's always been there. But you're going to have to vibrate higher to see it. Perception. How do you perceive us? I hope today has changed it. And you will see us the way we are. A family with our hands out, ready to take yours. On a journey you didn't expect. And so it is. I like to be consistent in the way we did it last night and the way we're going to do it tonight. And so what I'm going to ask is for all of our guests in a moment to come in, and they're going to sit in the order they've presented, and each one is going to do a little presentation representing either their entity or what they want to say. And before I do that, I want to say thank you to all of them. It's been another great day. And And having my friends here is emotional for me. And having so many on one stage with a similar message is very important to me. So let's get on with it. And I'm asking my guests, please, to come. Pragit, you can come first. And here they are. Thank you, my lovely friends, for all that you're doing for our planet, for being here, for participating in the way you are, and for the love you have for us, one another, for me, and for them. Pragit.
Beloved ones, we greet thee again. And again we invite you to simply relax. And again we suggest you close your eyes and just tune in to the energies that you have called in this day. And feel this 12th dimensional field is still here if you wish to connect to it. So feel and ask for more. Just ask to feel it deeper. There are a few things that we said to you a little earlier. The first, we wish to remind you once more this simple phrase, thank you, bring me more. It can change your life. Thank you, the gratitude for what is. And bring me more, because existence is abundant. Existence wants you to be abundant. How much can you allow? What is this abundance? So many people still connect abundance to this money. No. Abundance is having what you need when you need it, with a little bit extra to share. And when we say what you need, we are not talking about bread and water. If you want to go on vacation in Hawaii, you need it. If you want to drive a beautiful car instead of a wreck, claim it. Allow yourself to live the way that you deserve. Existence wants you to be abundant. Thank you. Bring me more. Something else that we would simply like to say. You are all creators. You carry the spark of the Creator within you. You create everything that you experience in your life. So start creating more consciously. Love yourself. And again, we said a little earlier, allow your vibration to move to its natural, beautiful frequency. Why stop holding it back? Stop judging yourself. Stop judging others. Stop judging situations. Your judgment tends to lower your frequency. In particular, stop judging yourself. You are beautiful. You are radiant beings. When you stop judging yourself, you start to feel that radiance. You have heard from all of us, and you know it yourself. There is a oneness. There is a oneness that you can feel, that you can tune into in this illusion of separation. We love you. and we bless you. There is so much joy and excitement around the universe for what is occurring here. Do you know that? Do you know that you are being watched right now? Do you know that multidimensional beings are here with you right now? It is the case. And as you allow self to open up to the grandeur that you are, you will begin to feel and then experience these multidimensional beings in your life. For you too are multidimensional, temporarily experiencing this beautiful, wonderful Gaia, as we like to call her, the earth or Gaia. You are on the leading edge of creation. You here gathered are on the leading edge of awakening of humanity. You have been acknowledged for this these days. You have been invited to go and share your light, to share your beauty, your radiance. It is a joy for us to observe and to laugh with you and to feel the tears of joy with you. It touched us deeply when our beautiful spokesperson Julianne brought a little stargate to give to this one Ilan, and we could feel so many of you saying, "Oh, ooh, I would like that." And so in your tomorrow, we will bring another one and give it to Ilan. Who will be the grand creator who receives that? One thing that we have said in the past, and we would like to say it now, it is about loving yourself and knowing yourself. We have made this suggestion to many. Love your body, this physicality. And we make a suggestion. Love the body as if it is your closest friend, your lover. When you take a shower, slow down, embrace the body. I love you, I love you, I love you. It will start to give you an experience of yourself in a different way. It will start to help you to connect to the innate intelligence. When we first suggested to Pragit that he does this, he felt a little strange in the shower saying, "I love you." He whispered it at first. But after a while, it took him a while, because he wasn't totally being that love. But then suddenly one day when he was saying, "I love you," caressing, acknowledging, loving the body, he felt the body respond. It was almost, he describes it as an inner hug. The body responded. He suddenly felt like a love your body, love yourself, drop your judgment and celebrate life. Beloved ones, we love thee and we bless thee. We honor thee. And we will talk to you again very soon.
Yeshua and El Moria have asked to join in an equalness, sitting here in a togetherness in order to convey a slightly different perspective in loving yourself. A word that I believe Adama spoke of yesterday was selfish. It's a word that in this third dimensional reality that we play is not a very nice word, but there's two ends to that stick, selfishness. Most see it as stepping on someone, using someone, taking advantage of someone to progress their own well-being. Not many like that, except those that are so much in fear and pain that exercise that end of the stick. But Yeshua and Metatron, Yeshua and El Moria, wish to speak of the other end of the stick. One that says, have for yourself. See, so many of you are healers, and you give, and you give, and you give. So many of you have grown up in the religions that say it is better to give than to receive. But if you keep giving, and giving, and giving, and giving, and giving, there's nothing left to give. But we've grown up in that third dimensional reality, having no power and giving. As this shift of consciousness unfolds, you are being requested to be selfish, to simply begin to have for yourself. Continue to give, but have that which nurtures you. Allow it to be abundant as it flows to you. And give freely of the excess. In that third dimensional game that we have played, in being controlled and weaker and less, giving for many was the way of finding that space in the heart. But in this shift, it's about having for yourself. The shift allows you, instead of looking externally for your well-being, for your validation, for your acceptance, it's in the space where you become selfish, in the heart, in the sacred heart. It's in the sacred heart that you begin to recognize in present time that I can observe the world. I don't have to move to it in order to fit in with it. It's the space where you begin to recognize happy, present, capable, certain. It's very soft. It comes with ease. But as you recognize it, a very significant shift happens. In your well-being, everything comes to you. You need not go externally looking for filling the lack. The lack is in the external movement. But as you sit in the sacred heart that's opening, as you begin to experience the personal power of being selfish, you begin to find that you have for yourself. But more so, in that space, you begin to recognize what power is. Power has no sword. Power has no force. There's no push. There's no external exertion. There's a presence. You, in the love and the power, one with the Creator. Everything comes to you. It's a place where you have to choose to know yourself. It's not difficult, but it is not necessarily easy, because my well-being, my belief system, my thoughts, my habits take me out there for what is really in here. So we ask you to begin to know your power, and it's in that power that you begin to know the love that you are. We love you greatly. This is an adventure. Enjoy what you are about to experience. Blessings.
Good evening. I'll tell you a wee story. This bit big. An old friend of mine by the name of Raven. He was telling for a story from his grandfather's 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 grandfather. That's a long ways back, you know. But understand this. He was telling the story of himself. Because what is remembered is that he was that little self. And the grandfather was telling him how to cross the stream, so to speak. So he walked out into the middle of the stream and he told the young raven, he said, now when you come out here, be careful. You know, the raven, he's just ready. He shows that grandpuppy. He stepped right into the stream and sploosh right on his butt. There he stood there looking, wiping the water out of his face. He stood up quickly and he wanted to get to his grandfather, who had moved further out into the stream. No problem, he thought, I'll just run quickly out there, and on his face this time. And the grandfather spoke to him. And he said, remember this, lad. When you're going to take a step on this dimension that you call Earth, you got to be important. Every foot has got to have a foot before you set it down. And what he did was, he stood up and he put his foot out and he felt this little stone. It was a little slippery though. But he wiggled his toes a little bit. And he settled that stone. And he stepped up with another foot and put in another stone. And again it was slippery, but not so slippery he was going to fall down. So I tell you this thing, lads and lasses. Remember, this is just a very simple metaphor. Metaphor is, know where you're going to put your feet down before you set them up there to get put down. Because if you don't, you might find the going a little bit rough. But as you learn through age and unification of all the love these people are sharing with you right now tonight, understand this much. You're all walkers of this life. And you don't have to fall down so much. Good evening.
I am the wisdom of the feminine divine, in honor of the wisdom of the masculine divine. We wish to continue to speak of love, of self, and deep nurturing. It is the time of the nurturer. We ask you to nurture yourselves first, and then nurture others. And the deeper you go in the strength and expression of the infinite love, you will find a beautiful exchange, an infinity symbol, where you love others, you love yourself. You love others, you love yourself. And before you know it, you don't know where one ends and the other begins. It begins with you nurturing yourself in the energy of wholeness, in the energy of holiness. A deep breath for nurturing, please. In this time, we also encourage you to live with what is, so that you may more clearly see what can be. And a key for that is the less you judge, the more you will see. So in deep love for self, in that constant exchange and acceptance, learning the energetic recalibration of response versus reaction, response and nurturing, living with what is so that you may more clearly see what can be. The life continues to unfold. To realize that you are co-creators with one another, and the kindness that you share with one another is also within your own being. Nurturing again and again. We wish to remind you again that you are all channels learning to channel more of who you are. We are entering a time where the resonance is becoming stronger. And each one of us made an agreement that when this resonance of empowerment arrived, we want it to be refined, recalibrated, centered, deeply loving of self and others. It will continue, you know. It's an ever spiraling upwards. What will you share with one another now to nurture? You know how much we love to interact with you. What will you share to nurture? Speak up. How do you nurture one another? Let us hear you. Through wisdom, laughter, kindness, compassion, honoring, a little more. Feel the resonance as you nurture. Let the words bring the resonance in. And as we continue to realign, recalibrate, and change the old beliefs, transform, evolve the old beliefs, of course, let that evolve and change the old actions. Are you willing? Without guilt, please, for that is the last thing we wish to bring to the planet. Without guilt. To recalibrate, realign, reaffirm. You came here in the energy of unconditional, infinite love. And it is that resonance that we share in this moment. Hold it in your hearts. Share it with your loved ones. Continue to inspire. Continue to demonstrate unconditional, infinite love. Let it pass through you first, and then remind others they too are channels for unconditional, infinite love. Do you agree? Continue the merging of all that you are. Continue to grow in your ability to channel more of who you are. And may all of it be in the resonance of infinite love, for you are infinite beings. The more you know that, the easier the infinite love flows through. Are you ready? Then let us continue honoring you. I am the wisdom of the feminine divine in honor of the wisdom of the masculine divine. And so are you. Blessings of union.
Greetings from home. What is home? We call home with a capital H. And yet it is so difficult to remember that process. But we tell you, dear ones, you have been here from the beginning. From the very beginning of Earth, even when it was hot and gaseous, you came here as spirits. You were in light body then, before the density. And at one point, one of you was sitting in the beautiful area saying, do you want to play a new game? We're going to play a game where we put a veil over our heads and we can't remember who we are. And we're going to bump into each other and we're going to probably hurt each other once in a while, but we're going to love each other and find what we're doing here. And you all agreed and you stepped forward into this new game. And you have evolved it so many times. It is so beautiful for us to watch. You have laid crystals on your path. Now, from our perspective, it is beautiful because you come to Earth, you put the veil on, and you try to find the path. The path that you have set for yourself. And every so often, you see one of these beautiful crystals that you have set to mark your way. Now, many times, dear ones, you have given your power to the crystal. You have worshipped the crystal. You have said, you are the honor. We are the small beings. And the crystal is trying so hard to reflect your light. But sometimes you haven't been able to see it. Part of that is the game itself and the way you devised it. All of that is changing. So rapidly now. The veil is not only becoming transparent, it is disappearing altogether. You are starting to see who you truly are. Won't be easy, dear ones. You have BS. Belief systems. Opening that up will be the biggest part for all of you. To dare to rethink. For what you see in the crystal is not the light from home, it is your reflection. Every religion on planet Earth is meant to reflect your power. Every book. To help you remember who you are. Is it possible to remember every part of it? No. That is what the veil has been helping you with. But now that it's starting to become totally transparent, you can see. Trust it. Step into it. Dare to place yourself first in the line of energy. It is your rightful place. As was previously spoken, there is a major difference between being selfish and being self-first. For being self-first is your rightful place. When you see the crystals on the path, when you see your reflection of light in many of these beautiful ways, take it. Own it. Know that you are once again evolving this incredible game. You came in light body originally to birth the earth. And all the different levels that she has gone through, that you have walked her through. And now, after having all this energy in density, you are stepping back into light body right now. Do you remember who you are? We do. And we will hold that light for you until you can hold it yourselves. It is our honor. Aspavo.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I open the gathering with my energy, I close it with my energy. But my energy is shared with the others. I want to review. Sitting to my partner's left are teachers. They have different methods of informing you of so many different things. I want to get to the practical. I want to reduce all of this to something that you will leave with and remember. All of the teachers are telling you you are enabled past what you used to be. Each of the teachers, in their own way, are giving you information that there is a paradigm shift on the planet. It invites you to take a power that you didn't have before. Each one in their own way is giving you precious information on how to proceed in this, the new energy. Each one. There is a confluence of energy, of sameness of message that says you are magnificent and different than you were. Practical. What do you do with it? And do you even believe it? Dear ones, there are always those who would say it is a good message. I always feel good when I hear these things from the teachers of this age. And yet some of you will say, and yet I don't know what to do next. And there are some listening to this right now who don't believe it. They say it is flowery, it is good, the intention is there, and they say there is no substance, for there is no way I can believe this. Look at the world, they say, and what is going on. As they tune into their media anywhere on the planet, they will see the strife right now that is different. Frightening it is. And they will say, this does not reflect what the teachers have said this day. There is no light, they will say. There is no comfort or joy or celebration or hope, they will say. I'm going to tell you again what I said. If you buy into that, my dear friend, you are taking on exactly what the enemy of darkness would have you do. They want to rip away the belief that there will be hope, that there is hope, that there is light. Practical. Let me show you something special. This is the first time on this planet that you have a war that is not country against country. It is blatantly dark against light. It was predicted that in this time the darkness would raise its head and try its best in the ugliest way to convince you you are still a slave to the old energy, to give up, to fear, to hate, just like you always have. Predictable. It's there, and it is different for you to look at. Imagine an army of darkness that is so powerful and well-funded, they don't even need borders. They can go where they want and do what they wish. Imagine, this is different. I'll tell you something. There's a paradigm shift coming in order for you to beat this. We mentioned some time ago what it would be. We said it's simple. How much money does it take to fund what you see going on right now that is dark and ugly and awful, unexplainable and scary? How much money do you think? And the answer is a great deal. It has to be funded on a daily basis with the kinds of funds you have no idea. Big. We told you to cut the funding. If they don't have the funds, they will then not exist. We said that. And there are those, even within your own government, who heard that. My partner knows this, for they have spoken to him. And they said, that's not good enough, give us another way. And now I'll tell you why. It's something that they know, it's something that you know. Because, dear human beings in this country, it is your friends who are funding them. You must change the paradigm of integrity, of who you let do what for friendship or non-friendship or political reasons. How many heads have to be cut off before you see it clearly? Practical. Things are changing. Now, if you don't believe it, I want you to look at the children. I want you to look at this and understand. You have an entire race of new children on this planet, and you're having trouble with them because they don't believe they were born dirty. They know things that you didn't. They don't comply because they're wiser than you were. They're self-assured because they come in knowing, and they know they are magnificent. So, doubter, I want you to take a look at what is in front of you that is happening on this planet right now and realize all of it was predicted, and it's happening exactly as we said. That should say something about the practical. What are you going to do with these kids? BS. Belief systems are going to have a very difficult time with the roles in their churches with children who will not buy in to being victims and born dirty. Do you see what I'm saying? There is a paradigm shift ahead. It's already happening. Humanity is changing. The consciousness that is coming in is changing, and every teacher on this platform has their own way of saying, get ready for it. Here are the things that you can do. Don't despair. Practical. What are you going to do when you go home? How are you going to digest all of this information from all of them? And I will tell you this, dear ones, you don't have to digest the minutia. I want you to know this. Do not despair. All of them have one message. You are magnificent. And you're going to win. Light is active. Dark is not. If you turn on the light, the darkness cannot exist. We've said it for 25 years. Now, more than any time, we say you need to believe it. That's practical. I want you to go home comforted in your heart that all is in your hands, dear ones, in a way that is beautiful and benevolent and very doable. That's the message they have. Everyone. Every single one. This is why we love you the way we do. Leave differently than you came. practical. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The process of channeling is different for some. There's no right and wrong way. It's an individual way, unique to the human being. There are those who channel in this room. I know who's here. You do it in your own way. You do it through intuitive processes. You get what you get and you speak what you speak, and it's accurate. That's channeling. What you see is a direct connection here with my partner and myself, and it's been 26 years in the making. He is comfortable with it. He steps away into a place that we have discussed before where he watches and is comfortable. And what is happening now is we're using everything that the human being has, his culture, his language, his intellect, and his willingness to be clear, in order to talk to you in real time. Spirit does not communicate in a linear fashion. What you are hearing is his interpretation and translation of a multidimensional message that is coming in many times. He has learned to linearize it for your ears. But at the same time, there's something called the third language. It is multidimensional, and it's coming from this chair. It's talking to some of you right now, and you'll feel it way beyond the words that come. It is available for any who hear the words, even those who listen later. The third language is the intuition communication from Spirit as you listen to me. We are family. That's who we are. We're not teachers to you. We're family. And when you're not here, you are like us. It is so hard for you to believe that you are more than you are. The filter that you have that keeps you human and not something else stays in place as long as you are here. To the very last breath that you take before death, you're still wondering, is it real? That's free choice. It must be that way, dear human. And yet here you sit. And some of you are believing and cognizing the reality of this. Some of you are feeling that I'm here. I've said so many times, I am here because there are things for you to know. We look at you and we say, we're so congratulative on what you have been able to accomplish. Not just that, the willingness to listen, to know, to hear. There are some who are here and who tune into this because you're in trouble. For a moment, I want you to suspend that. Did you know you can? There's a part of you that knows better than to buy into that which would cause distress with you. No matter what it is in your life, you can suspend it for a moment and feel the love of God in your life, if only for a moment, to help tip the balance of normalcy so you can breathe easy just for a few moments and know that all is well and that we know you. I want to call this the mid-year report of 2015. It's not a long, enduring channel. It is one we want to give you so that you know where you are. We speak of what is happening in a practical way, in a common sense way, to humanity and to old souls. Now there is a difference. For the new energy carries with it attributes that all will feel on the planet in a slow fashion where they won't be alarmed. And then there are attributes that the old souls feel very powerfully very quickly. And they know it. With a change in the way you think. We talk about the mental attributes of consciousness. And we say you are starting to think differently. This is a difficult one because really, truly, it involves consciousness. If you take a look around the planet and see some of the things that are happening, there are different kinds of consciousness. People are starting to think different, to get together and act differently because there is a mental difference. You can't put your finger on it, and sociologists have not even seen it yet for what it is. There's a softening going on. There are those who will start to understand that they don't have to sit in a certain kind of box anymore, and it's okay to be more expansive, perhaps to think out of the box, maybe to include others more. You can see it in religion. You may actually see it in politics. These are human beings, regular human beings, who are being affected by an energy that is coming at you, and we told you it would be here. Now, in order for you to understand what we're talking about, we have to review. Some time ago, we talked to you about being in a new area of space. Your solar system, as it moves around the center of the galaxy, is entering a different kind of space that has a different energy in it. Ask an astrologer and an astronomer, for they both understand the ramifications of this. An astronomer will tell you it may actually affect the heliosphere of the sun. This then affects that which is your magnetic grid, which affects you. This has been the teaching of Kryon since the beginning. I am the magnetic master, and there's a reason for the name. Therefore, there may be different thinking. It's right on schedule, dear ones, and we said this before, and many of you are starting to see it and feel it. Is it possible that Earth and the solar system is moving into a different kind or area of space with an energy you haven't seen before that literally is on target, on track, timed properly, on purpose, in case you had passed that marker of 2012? You needed it. And you're here, and you do, and it is. You're thinking differently. What is the most linear, unstoppable force that is the same that you can think of, that is the hardest thing to change? And you would say, well, from what we have seen, it has to be religion on the planet. The sources of it is old. The belief system has never changed. It is creating problem after problem because there is no willingness to change. And it's changing. You're going to see it, dear ones, in almost all of the boxes you call religion. But one of the biggest has a pope. We told you about it. We celebrated it. Before it happened, we told you you would have a new pope. We told you what he was going to do. At that point in time, you all thought the old one would die. What a paradigm change. It's called a wild card. A wild card is defined as something that happens that nobody expected, that is not in the paradigm that it should be. Imagine having 2 living popes. Even the Vatican is confused. Against all odds, one of them resigned. He didn't resign to die, dear ones. Did you notice? He's still around. And the new one took over. And against all odds, he was from South America. And against all odds, he has started talking differently than any pope has ever talked. Because he knows, in order to save his church, he's going to have them think differently. There has to be consciousness shift within His church to remain a church. It is actually more threatened than you know. There will be more like Him who understand these kinds of things. It's the way of what we would call the mental attitude of humanity all over. You're reaching out for things you never reached out for before. The majority on the planet right now want peace on earth. It's the minority who don't care. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Where are you at this point in time? You're in year 2. We told you this before, dear ones, that this new energy was measured from 2014. 2013 didn't count. You were too busy with recalibrating yourself. And we were there for it. 2014 was year 1. This is year 2. How are you doing? Have you talked to a 2-year-old lately? How are you doing? You are beginning, and you're doing well. What are the biggest issues that you are getting through? Fear. That's the first one. And you're doing it well. Against all odds, you're seeing what is in front of you, and you're starting to realize and recognize this is why you're alive. Old soul, this is what you waited for. And even though it might be tough going, it's finally here. It's here. Now, how do you use it? How do you recognize it? What does it mean? Can I say something to all of you at this time in your planet's history? Relax. These things are going to start becoming clear as you go. Part of the mental realignment, or what we will call the evolution of the consciousness of all those on earth, is that they're going to start wanting to have their spirituality make sense, instead of just following the rules of their parents. It's going to have to make sense. You're going to see some major spiritual groups be exposed. You're going to start seeing those who make a difference, making a difference in a different way. You're going to see some awakenings within the church, even all churches, when they start seeing that which is the basis of their attendance, which would be those in priesthoods, dwindle, because it's not making sense. And that's when they will start changing things. Others will have a resurgence. And the difference is this: look for compassionate spiritual systems to increase. If it has compassion and the love is obviously there, it's going to increase. Don't make the mistake of linking it perhaps to a master or somebody from the past. I'm not talking about that. If there's compassion and there is love, it will increase. It's a new paradigm. Those who have no compassion and there is no love and it's obvious that it's something else will dwindle. It's simple. Watch for it. You're going to see it. That's a mental shift. Physically, how are you doing? Dear ones, the physical body of the human being is going to have a resurgence in awareness. Now, let me speak in terms that are better. Human beings are going to start caring more about what they eat, what goes into their bodies, and a realization that what you have called alternate medicine doesn't have to be alternate. It can simply be another one that works. So start watching this, because it's closer to mainstream than you think, dear ones. The things that are happening and are being discovered right now, we have discussed before. You're starting to move into a new paradigm of healing that's going to involve more kinds of energy than chemistry. And so look to this. You'll see not energy work as you call it in the New Age, but energy cures. That is cures and health remedies that involve that which is physics as much as that which is chemistry. Sometimes it will be together. It's coming. In some ways, it's already here. It's new. So physically, for you, both for the human race and for the light worker, you're going to start responding differently to these cures. Now there is more. For old souls, you're going to have more of an awareness of how to stay on this planet longer. Did you hear that? Now, this may seem unfair to many. Why is it that a group of people would have a better awareness than others? And I say to you again, it is no different from those in school who have been there for 9 years instead of 2. They know better. They know more. They're able to navigate within the system better because they've been there longer. That is why, dear one, you will start awakening to things that others will not. Years and years ago, as many as 15, I gave you a channel that said there would come a time when consciousness would determine how a person heals instead of the strength of their chemistry. And you're here. And that is what we want to tell you that is different. Today, my partner started to talk to you about some of the new things that he is seeing that are being embraced. In this process, so many of them have to do with consciousness, the physics of consciousness, even that which is energy on the planet, as opposed to new chemical inventions. It is the way of it. You're going to see more of it. But the old soul is going to become more aware of it and faster. Be alert for it, dear ones, for it's almost like something that sits in front of you that you will see and others will not. Let synchronicity bring you things that'll keep you alive longer. The physical body of the human being is starting to evolve through DNA. And in this process, it is the old soul who will have the benefit first. You've been around longer. You've experienced more. Your Akashic record is stronger. And it just yells that this is what you've been waiting for. You're right on schedule. There's much to come in this. The third one is spirituality. And now we do not speak of the spirituality you have in this room or even those who are listening. We're speaking of the earth in general. We told you there'd come a day, dear ones, where this would happen, and it is. Do you realize what's going on? You are actually battling duality. For the first time in history, this planet has a war of dark and light. Not of country against country. Do you see it? We told you it was coming. We said that there will be organization of darkness. The ones who are invested in keeping things the same, under the guise of a spiritual system, will create darkness, and it will frighten you, and it is. We've also given that which is information as a review, that the fear that they want to develop, they know, will stop you if you let it. That's all they have. You're doing well, for you're seeing it for what it is. There are some who are afraid, indeed. But the old soul has seen it before. And the old soul knows that it cannot harm them, because light will eventually win. What you see going on right now is very interesting, and let me tell you and paint a picture. Isn't it interesting to you that such a force could be gathered so quickly and move into so many areas, and the governments are not doing anything about it? This is because you're looking at a paradigm that has caught them all by surprise. They're used. And it's able to recruit from anywhere, because darkness is anywhere you want to look. Dear ones, by free choice, you have those who think this way everywhere in any walk of light, any walk of life. The light really doesn't matter. They could be in a place that is well lighted spiritually, and they still, you don't even know it, will think in the dark. This is a challenge of duality. They will be attracted to the dark. This group will have no trouble pulling out recruits from the strangest places, even the church. Darkness will attract itself because darkness is having trouble with the light around it. Again, light is active, darkness is not. Therefore, light will win if it's turned on. It's not being turned on. It will. Do not concern yourself overly with what you see as far as your future. I say it again. It's right on schedule. And could I say this to you without giving away anything? Those that are your seed parents that you call the Pleiadians had the exact same thing happen. Every planet of free choice that moves past that marker where it starts to graduate has the exact same problem. A battle for the old ways, a battle for the dark. Isn't it obvious when you look at it? The dark and the light. Can you see compassion and love, and you can see the absence of it? It's becoming more defined for you, isn't it? That is because you're evolving. There was a time when people could not see that, and now you see it very clearly. Finally, there is this. There is a wild card coming. All that we see that is the potential of the planet in the overview leads us to say this. And the wild card is not a bad one, any more than the last one you had, which was the fall of the Soviet Union. The wild card may actually be something that no one expects against a paradigm that nobody thought was there. It has to do with inventions. You're going to start getting some odd ones. They're not scheduled. But then again, none of them were that you received. Now let me back up. And I want you to follow me and connect the dots. Dear ones, the greatest inventions that humans have were all given to you when you needed them. You might say that inventions progress in a logical way. As you invent one technology, it leads to another and to another. You would be correct, mostly, but not with the wild cards. The last one you had that you were ready for was flight. It's not much more than 100 years old. You see that, do you not? And yet humans have been flying kites for thousands of years. They've been watching birds as long as birds existed. They have been looked to the skies and saying, I wish I could fly. And yet, something as simple as you know now about flight was so elusive. You got it all at once on the planet. You claim it as an American. An American inventor gave you flight. 2 bicycle makers figured it out. And the whole history never did. You only beat the French by 2 weeks. They were all working on it together. Dear ones, inventions are given to this planet when the consciousness is ready for them. The same was with radio. This was also given to you when you needed it. It was not a natural extension of another kind of invention. The same was with Tesla's alternating current. No one could ever think of that unless he was a master who had the knowledge before he came in. By the way, if you take a look at his life, he had much more to give you. And none of it stuck. When you see something like this, you have to know that inventions are something that you receive when you need it. There's another one coming. There's actually 3. I cannot tell you when, how, or where. I will tell you that you're right on schedule for another phase, another wild card to look forward to. A good one, dear ones, like the other ones have been. And it's time. When you see it, you'll know it. You'll say, against all odds, this is different. What a deal. Dear ones, we're happy to give you all of this information in this day. That's where you are. Other planets have been right where you are. There's no surprise. From our standpoint, as we look at you, there's no surprise in year 2. Growing up, identifying the new energies, getting rid of the bullies, growing up. Peace on earth is guaranteed if you continue. Peace on earth will be necessary for some inventions. And that's so you will not weaponize them. This is coming. Peace on earth is not the end, it's the beginning. It was for the Pleiadians as well. Peace on earth comes with consciousness that has wisdom. It is part of that which is the new human. Now, in summary, where are you? You're discovering a compassionate earth. The old souls are awakening to a new energy. The dark is fighting you because it's afraid of you. Your news and your media is old energy, and you know it. There are new kinds of media and news coming that you can turn to that are balanced for programs you want to watch instead of those that you are given to watch. All of these things are before you. Personally, dear ones, physically and mentally, you're in year 2. Can I tell you this? Loved beyond measure, we want you to stay. We don't want you to be frustrated. But when you're recalibrating, for some of you listening to this, when you're recalibrating, all of those things don't mean anything. It is so tough for you. Hang in there. And know that there is part of you that knows all about what you're going through. That holds your hand and says, hang on. There is love. There is compassion. There is purpose. You'll get through it. Good news. And so it is.